Hello, whakalofalahi atu, namaste, hauwha, kia ora, kia ora, talofa lava. Welcome to our MYFNS podcast number 2, 2025. Excited to be here and very blessed to be on Yugan Bay country here in the Logan region. So, what a beautiful day, guys.
It is
Beats being in the office, right?
100%.
Absolutely.
Sure is. So we thought we would come outside and breathe the beautiful natural air here in Logan, or Yugan Bay country, and just connect, be outside and connect, be with nature, because we've got an amazing topic to talk about today. But yeah, guys, it's been a while. It's only 2 we've had 2025. Just again, I know that we get out in community and most of the people know who we are, but introduce yourselves again if you can, please.
So kia ora, I'm the Ipswich navigator.
Kia ora, Puna here, your Logan City navigator.
And I'm Pat, or Patrick. I am the navigator for Gold Coast and Brisbane. And yeah, this is our small, very small team, but with amazing will and big hearts for our community. So look, we'll jump right into it, guys. The topic is it's a really important topic, one that's at the heart of our community, especially our young people, because there's a lot happening for our young people, not only our multicultural young people, but all our young people here in Queensland, but in our region, our catchment, Brisbane, Ipswich, Gold Coast, and Logan. Our young people, it's been very challenging, and one of the key things that come out through their feedback is around mental health and wellbeing. So I think the topic that we can sort of touch on and share a bit of our own experiences and some of the experiences, if you want to, of some of the people that we engage with in community about wellbeing. So, what is wellbeing to you? What is wellbeing to us?
So wellbeing can look like working on your physical, your spiritual, it could look like walking or some sort of exercise, or just listening to music.
Having a yummy kai, eating those delicious food like we do here in Logan.
Because, you mentioned food, and, that's a big part of our multicultural families, right? Because food, it brings family together, right? You all sit on one table or on the floor, but everyone comes together and eats, and it's a time to...
It brings that connection, about whānau, family members coming together as one, preparing the food, enjoying each other's company, and just having fun.
Yeah.
And that's important for well-being.
Yeah, 100%. So that well-being, that word well-being, that encapsulates your spiritual, you mentioned physical, mental, environmental, all those things that wrap into one person as to what their well-being is. And it's been pretty tough for our young people, yeah? Is that fair to say? Some of the engagements, a lot of the engagements we've had. What's been your experience out in Ipswich, right?
So if you don't already know, our program, we work with kids and families from 7 to 21. And the challenges around that, having those conversations with our young people, especially our young ones under 12, having to have a conversation and start a conversation with them, I'm kind of finding that I need to build that awareness around them because they don't know what mental health is or know what well-being is. So encouraging our families, our parents to be with our younger ones so that they can help speak to their child in a way where they're able to express themselves freely and just have that conversation. So that's been challenging in my area.
And it's just staying on there. It's like, although it's mental health is now coming into schools, social media, on television, and it's coming to the forefront, which is great. But then we have different communities and different cultures that view mental health differently. An example, our multicultural family. So to go back on what you mentioned around parents having conversations with their young people, what I'm hearing in Gold Coast and parts of through our travels is that disconnect between parents and their children. So we have families in our program or in our communities that have migrated here to Australia, and they have the traditional view of the homeland that they've travelled from. They migrate here to Australia with their children who have been in school, who are the transition to a new country has been a lot easier than it would be for their parents or their carers. So that disconnect is needs to be looked at in terms of, you know, the support that our community needs to provide for those families that you mentioned around mental health and wellbeing. Because traditionally, like I mentioned, the viewing of mental health is different in each community and culture. And then when the young people arrive here, okay, bang, this is what mental health looks like. And then the parents, carers, they're looking at that migrated here or moved here, are looking and going, well, mental health doesn't look like that to me.
Yeah.
So then becomes that dynamic in the household, which then the disconnect and the struggle between young people. And you're exactly right about, you know, our parents, how do we get them on board, and families. And we have amazing services in our communities, in all our communities, that provide workshops and for parents and carers around what mental health looks like and how to build those relationships with the component of mental health and wellbeing as the focus in those workshops. Ponga, and yourself, wellbeing in your community, what's that been looking like?
Well, I suppose just going from both of your regions too, and the talk that we just were discussing, and I suppose it touches on identity. You know, our young ones' identity, self-identity, cultural identity, and through my travels in Logan, you know, those are the conversations that I'm hearing around. They want more to learn about where they came from. You know, if you're Samoan, you know, the traditional dancing, like we said, the food preparation, you know, coming together as a whānau, as a family, with friends, you know, that connection with your culture.
This segment here is just a bit of a shout out to, you know, these services that have been that are in our community, that are doing the work, just passionate, and, you know, part of their cloth is to the well-being of people in general, but for our multicultural youth and families. This segment is the shout out to those organisations. You're a couple or one. I know we don't have much time on our pod, but a shout out and a bit of a story in the community, and a good story. So for me, in the Gold Coast, I want to shout out to Streets Uni in Southport. A big, huge thank you to Alana, who's the manager there at Streets Uni, and of course Cheyenne, who took part in our podcast, our very first podcast. But shout out to the team at Streets. Appreciate what you guys are doing in community. It's tough. I know some of the backstories there, but the team there at Streets continue to open their doors and service and be there for our young people. And yeah, very appreciative to Alana and the team there at Streets Uni Southport. So if any of our young people watching this and you're floating around Southport or down there in the GC, look up Streets Uni on Insta, and yeah, they've got times to go in, but reach out if you need to chat with anyone. They have activities there. They have a cooking day on Tuesday. They might have changed it, but they've also got counsellors, youth counsellors there. So yeah, it's an amazing spot in the Gold Coast. What's any shout outs for you guys in your regions, for your local services?
Yep, I wanted to make a shout out to the YMCA down at Springfield Central.
They're good. Good sort that lot.
They're always open for, you know, for the schools to come out, after school activities that they have here. And also for allowing me to run my workshops there, my hybrid workshops, where I'm able to capture the voices of our young people when they come through. it's really good to have those conversations with them and pretty much, raise that awareness around mental health and what that looks like for them as well. Just to give them a better understanding on what our program's about too. So yeah, shout out to Cam down there, who's the manager, and his
Team down there, right?
yeah, his team down there, yeah.
Cam, YMCA, thank you so much there in Springfield. If any of our young people are floating around on a what day?
On Thursdays, every fortnight on a Thursday.
Nice, awesome. Any shout outs over there on Logan?
Well, let's start at the top, and that's Logan City Council.
Yeah, well,
There you go.
No, but I did want to shout out to an important event that happened during Youth Week a few weeks ago, and that was a Youth Shine event. And that came through the incredible work of Renandi and some of our important partners at YFS, Your Town. And that was just about bringing our services and our community together for our young people. And I think it's important to make sure that our services are connecting with our young ones, and trying to invest more in opportunities and that for them to thrive in Logan City. So.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thanks for that, guys. There's so much, because throughout the year we're going to have young people come on and share their voices and their experiences. What is mental health and well-being, or anything that they want to speak about. But also we'll have services come on and speak about their services, a bit like an in-service, but here on camera for our young people and families who their preference is the digital space, right? Social media, Instagram for our account, but it's an opportunity there for people to see what these services are, as opposed to coming to events. They'll just have it at the click of their phone or whatever that may look like. So looking forward to all the services that we're going to get on. We want to get as many services as we can to talk about the service that's appropriate to our communities. But yeah, looking forward to all that.
Yeah, I think it's really important too, and not just my region, but all the regions, for all the services to come together for all of us to just work collaboratively, really.
Yeah.
We are community workers, so we should all be able to, work together as a community. And kind of like, help each other and link each other in where they find that maybe the young person and their family don't really, they can't really service them in their region, or just link them up to where they should go. And that's part of what we do too, hey? So
absolutely. That connection is important, and shining a light on the awesome work that some of these organisations, the organisations you'll deal with, or the YMCA, multicultural Australians, Recon here in Logan.
Yeah.
I have an amazing relationship with Orlando and the team there, and the incredible work they're doing at the Wilbur Street Youth Centre. So shining light on those types of things is important for our young ones.
And that's what we're here to do. We're here to drive that. Because essentially, like you mentioned earlier, our role is to connect our young people, multicultural background, to those services, bringing awareness, what are the barriers, the needs, and then build that resource for our community, which we will launch in 2026, but we'll talk about that further on down the track. But just to go back to Juve around, organisations, there's no MOU between each organisation, and dare I say it, sometimes, well, not sometimes, some of our organisations are at the mercy of funding, right? So we have those silos, and organisations are focused on getting the next contract, next funding, and because of that, there's that separation or that silo around, okay, we need to generate funding so we can service community. But then when each organisation do this, then there's no communication between those organisations, or freely communicate, like you mentioned, touching base, or like they could ring another we're our wait list, because we hear a lot about wait lists.
Yeah, we do.
We are 13 over our wait list. They should be able to pick up the phone to each other, the organisation, say, look, we need 3, 4, 5, 6 families to be serviced. We're at capacity. What are you guys looking like? Send an email all around those services in that program. How amazing would that be?
Oh, that would be so good.
20 organisations, community organisations, all communicating together and say, yep, we've got space. Pick up that family, or pick up this young person. That's the aim, that's the goal.
our young ones are the future. They're our future leaders, and for our service, the success is driven by all
people.
services and community coming together, working together, and that's the most important thing. We're hearing when we go out there, listening to our young ones. If they come to us with feedback, with some barriers, and that means our work's not done.
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah,
things
absolutely.
to do, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Any last words, guys, before we sign off? I know the really important stuff is we will put in our post around some of the services that people can access, or young people can access, in our post when we upload this podcast. But any last words, guys?
Yeah, I think for me, for my Ipswich region, I think it's really important for our parents, for them to speak to our young people, and have those comfortable conversations with them around mental health. There's help out there, and that's our job, is to link you into some help. So yeah, for me, I strongly recommend our parents especially to get in contact with us. We're on Instagram, we're on socials, and have those conversations with your young people, and and just link in.
And those conversations, as a parent, when you see your young person or a carer that's isolating themselves or not responding, or could be upset, is how do you have that conversation with the young people? So there's a lot of support out in community for our parents. There's Triple P programs. There's a ton of programs that are happening in each of our communities. Ponga, last words.
Well, for me, collaboration is key. So if you share the same purpose as us, and that is to, for a better and brighter future for our young ones, then connect. We're here. We want to build resources. Our young ones are telling us there's a need for it.
Yeah.
So reach out to me. I'm happy to connect with you. And let's do it for our young ones.
Yep.
All right, awesome, guys. Thank you very much sharing your thoughts. It's a busy year already, but it's really important that we continue to look at ways to reach our young people in our communities. Our next podcast will roll out hopefully in the next couple of weeks. It'll be in one of our regions. So just calling out and reaching out to all our local services. We will be reaching out to you guys to come on our podcast. Our podcast is mobile, so we can rock up to where you are and have a chat about your organisation and your services. So our young people and their parents, carers, can know more about your service. So we're looking forward to that in service online or in service.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, 100%. So looking forward to all the services coming on board, and especially our young people in the coming weeks as we continue to roll out our pod. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
And have a great week. And NAIDOC's coming up soon, so exciting times. Peace.